It is week 41 and here is the maple fire glow that I was showing you over the past couple of weeks. It's now changed colour, it's translucent and it's just astounding. Look at that. If I can get through this apple tree, it is just wonderful. It's a very old plant, very old specimen, but it's just, well, yeah, fire glow, cracking thing. The Royal Horticultural Society have said we are in crisis. The industry is lacking youngsters coming through. This is Eggleston Hall Gardens, and over the next 12 months we're going to take you on a journey of what it's like to run a nursery garden. We've been keeping an eye on these liquid ambers. This is Orientalis, which has more russet colours, and it's just starting to turn. It's beautiful. And the Warpleston, well, that's been coloured for weeks now. You can see down by the old birch tree that we cut back and never recovered. Now the flowering cherry is just its final leaves are lovely orangey gold tones. Very nice. One of the things about a nursery is things seed around all over the place, so they're not exact copies of the parent. This is Persicaria and Plexicornis. We've been asked for it loads of times, but it's actually growing in between the channel of the between the two beds, because it's on a slope here. One bed is higher than the other, so they're effectively terraced, so we can't keep them level. So it's just growing in there. It's self-seeded itself. Beautiful thing. Nice long red flowers, spikes. We will have to propagate that, or someone will. I'd say these pots were too large for these. This is Tenyo no Hoshi, a nice variegated maple, absolutely lovely. It's just been put in there to stop blowing over, but it's just, maples really do come into their own now. Mikawa Yatsubusa lost most of its leaves, but it's doing well, apart from that stinking old canary tropiolum canary climber thing growing through it. Not that it's not growing through everything here at the moment. Little bastard. Am I filming yet? Yeah, I'm filming.
You are filming now?
Yeah. Are you playing with your tool? Did you throw something at him there?
I did. Immature.
Very juvenile.
I did. Right.
Come on then.
So,
Tommy Tosspot.
this here, we've talked about this plant loss before, rather Malcolm has. It is the Phytolacca americana. And a lot of our American viewers can't believe that we grow and try to sell this, because over there it's like a weed, isn't it? I can't remember what the common name is. It's something like a pokeweed.
Pokeweed.
Something like that. It's, you know. But what we do, we like to just leave this, because obviously when it's finished flowering, it's quite ornamental and quite attractive plant. But also, as you can see underneath it, drops a load of seedlings. And provided they don't get sprayed off, we can pot them and sell them.
Yeah.
Can't we, Malcolm?
Yeah.
So
I actually missed them, otherwise I would have sprayed them. I have to be honest.
And I've dug up loads of little ones that have poken up in random spots in the border, but especially here, where they've all just fallen beneath the parent plant. Because this parent plant, it's been coming back for years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been here for a long time. As long as I can remember, so I'm just going, because you can see actually how some of the little seedlings are probably, if we didn't give them a hand, they might not actually come through anyway, because something's clearly dining on them. So all I'm doing is digging up a little clump, trying to keep them intact, because you can see they're quite a taprooty thing. And you can see actually with some of the more mature ones, you might not be able to see it with these, but on some of the more mature ones I've got, this bit is very, very pronounced and fat, and you can see where it's starting to build up the sort of colour of the crown, where there's loads and loads of little buds building up. You obviously can't see it with these smaller ones so much, but some of the larger seedlings I've dug up, that's really quite prominent.
Well, it's shit or bust really, isn't it? Because, you know, if they stay here, they're not going to survive the winter.
Yeah, because something's clearly nibbling at them, isn't it?
Yeah, and we might as well pot them up and give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
It's altruism, it's not capitalism.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. We're giving the plants a chance. It's definitely not for our own monetary gain.
Oh, no, certainly isn't.
Not. Certainly not. Before people comment that I'm sounding snotty, it ain't Rona. It's just the sniffles.
Do you think anybody will believe that about not being
I
capitalist?
don't know. It's a bit of a weird time, isn't it, where you can sniffle and people can think, they almost like don't think a cold exists anymore.
No, everybody with a sniffle's got bloody coronavirus. If you're in a queue now, if you want to get to the front, just cough.
Yeah. But also, no, don't worry. I've been checking for a vein, injecting myself with some domestos, and swallowing some sif. I'll be right as rain in no time.
Let me go and see what Monkey Nuts is up to. The borders are looking fine. There's so many beautiful things here. Oh, that's gone and spoiled it. What are you doing? Come on, tell us what you're doing.
This morning with John Batty, I've been working the big man, the man for the job. That's why I look strong.
Right.
Always...
What's he laughing at?
So we're cutting back all the perennials because soon when the frosts hit, all the perennials just go flop and then get very...
How do they go? Could you do that again?
Just go... Yeah, flop. And then
Right.
die, so it becomes like slimy, so it's nice to just do it before. It's easier that way.
Yeah.
And then they're going to compost down the tip.
Well, it's looking very...
It's looking very nice, and
Very
you can actually
smart.
see all the autumn colour.
I actually like...
And the beech, the tree, the leaves are falling, nice and crispy leaves. And all the leaves will be, the hedgehogs will be looking for these leaves.
Yep.
In that border over there where the rhododendrons are.
Have you found any hedgehog nests yet?
No.
Oh, they'll be around.
I suppose because we're a bit early, aren't we? For cutting back the perennials, so.
You know, having 3 legs or half a nose, it doesn't stop them shagging. Because they're at it all the time, and there's youngsters around.
Yeah. You saying that when you sit halfway?
Shh. Terrible. What we are doing here this morning is...
Sweet peas!
Yes.
So we've got these sweet peas, well Malcolm got them from Roger Parsons, as you see there, and this is Just Jenny, the variety, which is a navy blue colour, and we're sowing them in autumn, and they'll come up really nice for next summer. So I'll show you how I'm sowing the seeds. So I've got one of these pots, and just make sure the soil's broken up and hasn't got any lumps in, or big lumps in. And then I'm just going to fill and just tamp, but don't press the soil, don't compact the soil in the pot. I'll just put a bit more, and then you just level it off like that and get your seed. Make sure you don't lose your seeds and mix the varieties. So Malcolm suggested to me this morning to put them in a little container, just one of the packets, so you don't lose any. And then you put the seed on top of the middle of the centre of the soil, just like that, and then press it down in the soil, but only for about a rubber's length. I've got a pencil here, if you can see, so, and then just tamp it so then just covers the seed just slightly, but don't press them in.
Yeah, they'll get compacted when we water them. We'll give them one good water in, and then they'll go up and grow on. Thank you, Clara.
Yeah, and also make sure you don't mix the varieties up in each tray that you do, or wherever you keep them, and make sure you label them. So I'm labeling just about putting one in and then one the other, and in the corner write the variety and the date, so, and then you'll know.
And the tie-on label as well.
Yeah, so you make sure you know which varieties.
That's for us commercially, but I hope obviously you don't have to remember that. Thank you.
Okay.
The reason we sow them in the autumn is because you get such a stronger plant. Flowers earlier, goes on longer, and they are fantastic. I used to show sweet peas. It was a little hobby of mine when I was much younger. And it was always the Spencer varieties, but we found the Roger Parsons seeds are really excellent, good germination, and it's just nice to stay with British growers, British seedsmen, rather than it all coming from Italy or China or wherever these days. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I get excited by little things. Just as well, really.
It's just trouble is she's getting into the sort of weather where it's going to be delayed full stop, isn't she?
Yeah, she'll have to wait till next spring.
Look at this. I could be a gardener. Oh, you're filming.
Yeah, I am filming.
Do you think I'm doing it slightly better than you did?
Well, a bit slower.
More carefully, I think you'll find. What are these little yellow duties in there?
That's fertilizer.
Okay.
It's a slow release fertilizer called Osmocote.
Right.
We use it at 2.5 kilograms per cubic metre of mix of compost. Now you won't miss any out, will you?
No, because I'm very thorough.
I don't want you missing anything out.
No, I'm nearly at the sticking the rubber in bit.
The what?
Sticking the rubber in bit, which is what you did a moment ago.
Right, go on then.
Okay, in it goes.
Not too far.
Not too far, just that?
No.
Further than that?
Just nearly to the end of the silver.
To the end of the
Oh,
silver
yeah,
bit.
That's it. Oh, that's it.
Do you know, it's precision work, this.
Yeah, she go a bit quicker.
Do you think the viewers are getting bored?
That one, but
Oh, well,
not too far. Don't.
Well, the trouble is with the speed, you tend to go in deeper
Do you?
than if you did it more steadily. That's the issue here, I think. And presumably, yeah, you don't want the rubber to go in too far, do you?
No, you certainly wouldn't.
Right.
Actually, it's an eraser because rubber sounds rude.
Oh, we will perish the thought we sound rude. Then you did this.
That's it. Oh, look at that. No, you just screwed it up.
Have I screwed it
Instead
up?
of going up and down, you went from side to side.
Oh. Do you think they'll be all right?
Give it a hard tamp. Go on. That's it. Yeah, that'll do now.
This is really, I feel like I've learnt something. You've still got about half a dozen left. Do you want me to pop them in?
At the base of the pear trees, we can see these were the Trillium seeds that we sowed a few weeks back on the 15th of August. So whichever week that was, that should have been put on. The trick with Trillium is to sow the seed fresh, but it will take many years before they're saleable plants. The wire is put on there to stop mice and birds scratching them out. It's always wise to do that with any seeds that you leave outside, whether they just be for stratifying or for growing. Stratifying, I should explain to you really, is stratifying is where you take a seed, a fleshy seed, let's say a holly seed or a sorbus mountain ash seed, and you put it into compost or just sand sometimes, or sand and grit, and you leave it over winter for the fleshy coat surface to for the fleshy outer part of the seed to break down. It's just a method of preparing the seed for germination, really. You can get too fussy about it. A lot of seeds, if you just put them outside somewhere like that for a year or two, they germinate fine. The dew, the heavy rain, and this time of the year there's a lot of moisture in the air, and things like this is a euphorbia, probably Wolfenii, and it can break down or bend down under the weight of the dampness and the wet. It's usually okay. You get that a lot. Most plants recover fine. It's snow that sometimes causes more problems, or freezing rain. We don't really get that in this country. Right, still raining, piddling down in fact. Just having a look at, these are all our spring bulbs, the ones that look so fantastic this year. We're redoing them in the hope that we won't have a lockdown and we'll be able to make a little bit of cash early on. These are mostly bulbs that we get, and we grow them on as pots. We don't grow the bulbs on as pots, obviously. We grow them in pots rather than dried bulbs. So they're complete little plants that people can put out. I think I said John's put this wire around the outside. This is to stop rabbits and squirrels from digging the things up. They are a dreadful pest. Clara has put in some mousetrap boxes. Each box has 2 traps in. We really do have to keep on top of those, because the mice and the short-tailed field voles, there are literally thousands of them, which is probably what the sparrowhawk is after that we filmed earlier. He's after that as much as birds, but he does seem to hang around the the bird feeding station quite a lot. But I know that they he had a rat the other day, because we saw him up here on a rat. So, you know, it's pretty symbiotic. You do feel distressed sometimes by feeding the birds and then the sparrowhawk comes in and pinches them, but I feel that it's nature, it's balance, and that's how it works, I'm afraid. We, on the other hand, are trying to grow plants, so we have to try and protect our stock. We try and do it with barrier methods wherever possible. You know, we have walls, we have wire around the garden, but I've seen them walk in, rabbits in particular, they walk in through the gate behind customers, because the countryside around here is just thick with rabbits. I've never enjoyed this side of nursery work, the killing side of it, if you like, or I really just don't like it. But it's that, or none of us would have a livelihood. Anyway, on to better things, nicer things. Look at this here, this is starting to turn. This is a tilia, a lime. This is one called winter orange, and it's primarily grown for its nice orange young growth in the winter. This year's growth has a a lovely orange look to it. It hasn't coloured up fully yet, but it's the 1 year old growth that bears the colour, and it's lovely in the winter. But it's autumn colour, these lovely russet tones shouldn't really be overlooked. It's a very, very nice thing, and it takes well to stooling like or stalling like the willow there. You can do it. So we could effectively cut this one back to about 3 foot and just make a stool out of it. We may have to do that because it is casting a lot of shade on this bed now. Yeah, Tilia winter orange. Very nice. You hardly ever see it anywhere. Miserable, miserable day. Still, what do you expect? We're coming into winter. These borders now then, Clara.
I'm carrying on with the...
Let's have a look at what you've
putting down Equinox and Eupatorium still flowering. It's nice, like in the border, you know, when we have plants that we sell at the nursery, you can also see them in the borders.
Yeah.
And so, cause I think we had lovely customers who bought a few of Eupatorium from seeing this Eupatorium in the borders, so it's still looking nice.
Yeah.
In autumn. Can't believe it's autumn.
No, and where the border that you've cut back now is looking really good. It's very, very nice. And the magnolia, that's the one Solangiana called Sundew. That's looking nice now. Yeah, very pleased with that. Made a good job. I've just here put the supports for the vegetable pots. We're just dismantling them now, and they just sit there quite happily. You could flatten them out, but they're a bit of a pig to bend the wire because it's quite a high tensile wire and it's hard to bend round if you do flatten them out. So you could if you wanted to, or you were short of space, but for us we can just stack them up there out the way. It has a real feel of autumn now tripping in. It's lovely actually. There's just a vibrant feel to it. No, vibrant's the wrong word. Relaxed. Relaxed would be a good word. It's all closing up and resting for the winter, and we can start again.
Ah, easy. Right.
Go on then.
Got too many clothes on now, I've started digging. This is Rubus tricolour. Rubus is bramble. Rubus is also one of Thomas's most hated plants, which is always a bonus. We've had these kicking around for a while. They're in the half price zone.
You mean we couldn't even knock them out at half price?
No, we couldn't. But if you look at them in pots there, this is actually the best of a bad bunch. They look absolutely rubbish in a pot. But if you've seen this growing, it's not exciting, it's not special, but it's what we call a solution to a problem.
It is a very good plant. It's, you know, it gets a bad press, and frankly, when it's grown well, it has big, lovely, glossy leaves.
I imagine, so don't quote me on this, it would be fairly rabbit proof.
Yeah, I've never seen much problem with
They
it.
don't bother other brambles. So you often see it. It's a bit, should be a bit deeper with me, right? It's a bit of a municipal car park planting plant.
But it grows well under trees. You know, where did you see it? You saw it at that Reged Centre.
They have it at Reged, which is a big service station near Penrith. A vast amount of it. Just as ground cover.
And it does suppress weeds.
Low maintenance ground cover. So I just thought, since we have these, we can't sell. We'll plant them.
Stick them in that hole. Do you know, it's making me tired watching you doing that.
And they might look nice.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of offshoots off the other one we have. There's a lot of root in it. I don't know if that's
That'd be alright, just wang them in.
Get rid of that in a minute. But these, I meant to plant these out. It shows how low maintenance they are. I meant to plant these out last winter, like a year ago. So I put them here, and they've kind of just sat here a year in their pots. And I don't expect anyone bothered watering them because no one likes it. So it does show how tough they are. So they should romp away, and we'll have a look next spring what they look like.
Excellent.
And if they look rubbish,
Be up
they
to
can
you.
go to the trailer.
Yeah.
But it'll be one less place to weed.
Here's a nice little plant. You've seen us growing these before, but this is Arum italicum pictum. It's got one or two other names, and it's got common names as well, like lords and ladies or pint or something like that. Pint, I think, is an old Germanic name for, I think it's actually for phallic or penis or something. I can't remember. And I usually remember sort of things like that. Now, it's highly alkaloid, so you don't want to be eating these berries. But it is a lovely thing. The reason I was going to explain to you about this is that if you sow the berries, and they come readily from seed, but you often find that they don't have the variegated leaf until they're about 2 or 3 years old. It's very, very nice. And it's just a little sort of autumnal thing that comes up. I really like the plant. So this is what you did about 5 or 6 weeks ago, wasn't it? 5 weeks ago?
We had a right laugh because it made funny noises, didn't it? Do I get to open it?
Yeah? And unroll it, let's see if it's worked.
Oh.
I'm going to look a complete wanker if this hasn't worked.
To be fair, you usually do anyway.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Well, there's flies coming out of it.
Oh God, that's not a good sign, it's probably rot.
Oh my God, look at it. It's like a cake.
What are you doing? You got it upside down, you silly bugger.
Oh, that one. Oh, is that right? Oh, now what? Oh, it's not doing it that way though.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, actually, you've done it. Yeah.
Have I cocked it up?
Yeah. Just.
Shall we stop a minute?
No,
Are you okay? Do we know what we're doing?
Do it. Yeah. See.
I'm being really gentle.
Yeah. Line them all out.
Wait, something's...
Wait, no, you're rolling up the bloody moss now, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to be any ruder to me already. I think we've all got the point.
Come on then. Well.
Yay!
What about that then?
Yay!
So, if you get one of these out, you'll see that you can see all the root on it.
That's amazing.
And you just pot that up. Away you go.
That's so cool. Have these grown since we last did it?
No, I came over last night and stuck them on.
Well, I can't remember if they had any on there before. But so they were literally just like
a
raw end.
Yeah.
And now they've got...
Now they've got roots on their end.
Markham, you're like some sort of wizard.
Look at that. Isn't that marvellous? Look at that beautiful little thing. Just break a couple open because Jan's going to pot them in a minute.
Jan. Oh, he's gone. Can you blame him?
He's gone off for a fag.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Yep. And then you can see, you just have to separate them apart. You always get a few that they don't work, but most of those have
They
wilted.
have though. They've just. I worry that I might tear them if they're together. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, just separate them.
Will they be all right? Just teased
You
apart.
just tease them apart. Teasing, there's a good word.
Teasing.
You tease them, you know.
Girls are good at that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not. They don't want to be separated. These ones.
No.
There we are.
Yeah. So we just take just to show you that the there we go, plenty of
That's
root on there.
amazing.
And you can do this with lots of perennials from stem cuttings, Lysimachia, Lythrum, and penstemons. Now penstemons, a lot of people have a lot of trouble rooting penstemons, and they do really well in this this method.
There's 2 in here at least.
And you see it takes up no space, or very little space.
That's a very impressive experiment.
Well, it wasn't an experiment so much because I've done it before, but
Oh,
not for many, many years. It's just how it used to be done.
that's lovely.
When I was growing up, lots of people had, they used to grow, from their garden gates, they would grow cabbage plants or all sorts of little plants, wallflowers, and you could just buy them, and you'd buy them in 25s, and it was like a garden gate economy in rural life.
I remember that. We used to buy our wallflowers
Yeah.
wrapped up in newspaper.
Yeah. I've got to go now and get the bell. Thank God for that.
That's lovely.
Well, having a little look in the churchyard now. The heptaconium is coming into flower. Because I've raised the bottom of it, you can't see the flowers quite so much. They're just starting to open. It's a nice plant, nice tree. The bark is particularly appealing. The scent here at the moment is incredible. The Stratification has just done its thing. It's just looking lovely, but it's a really, really heady burnt sugar thing. It's a smell, primarily coming from the leaves on the ground, but it's such a dramatic colour and plant. It's absolutely, I just love it. It was given to me by Geoffrey Smith, who was a very famous gardener years ago and was my mentor over the years. He was from the same village as I live in at Barningham. And years ago we did a radio interview together, and I've been trying to find a copy of it, but I just haven't been able to. We did it for Radio Teesdale, and there was him and myself and Gordon and another friend from down in Liss in Hampshire called Louise Bendel Duck. I will keep trying to find a copy of it because it was a really, really good interview. It went on for about 2 hours with songs. So there's probably a good, I don't know, hour's worth of chat in there and some wonderful stories. Now look at this. This here is a maple, obviously. You can see that. The colour is just fantastic. But it's nothing special. It is just a seedling maple. And while we get hung up on all of these grafted plants, we forget that very many of these seedlings just have are a lovely thing on their own. You never know what you're going to get. And yeah, it's just what happened here was that the actual grafted plant, I think it was Rosea marginata, died back for whatever reason. I don't think it's the hardiest thing in the world. It died back, and we cut it back to the rootstock, and this was just from the rootstock. So a lovely thing in its own right. Let's have a just get focused here. Yeah, I'm trying to be too clever with this camera, and I'm bollocksing the whole job up. Now there's a Stewartia. We looked at one in the borders last week and it was a red colour. This one is grown in grass, so its colours are going to be slightly washed out more on a plant this size. It's helped by the fact that there's a tunnel underneath it that leads into the church. I think the tunnel was where they came from, the hall, where that Stewartia is, came underground. You can see there's no gravestones there. And it come under there and came out here. Let's see if we go into the church itself. You're like this. I don't even know if I've done this before or explained to you. It would have come, there we are, you can see out there where the tunnel came, where that Stewartia is. There's nothing growing, no gravestones on there, and it comes under there, and it would have came out here by this old door. This will be hundreds of years old, this door. It'll be oak. And look at the old, look, we've got the key for this somewhere. Look at it, it's a great big old wooden lock. The original hasps. Anyway, it came in there, so the posh knobs from the hall would come in through that door. It would have had a roof on then, but they had a private chapel area here with a fireplace. So they just sat in here while the old vicar did all his oojamy magic stuff. I've never been able to work out what these insets are in the wall there. It must have carried a shelf or something. I don't know. There's another row down there and another row up there. But yeah, it was in there. In the archway, it doesn't got a roof on now, obviously, but it's amazing. So yeah, the knob sat in there. He did all his flip-flop and stuff in here, his black magic or whatever the vicars do. That's the original font. This gravestone here comes from 1635 or 85. And it's actually a 7-year-old boy. And then out here, through this other arch, which we've got, you know, some lats from, I don't know what that was, it would have been some sort of filling. Anyway, I'm waffling on. And the peasants used to sit out here. There was no heating in here for them buggers. So they would have sat in here and done all their bowing and scraping or praying and I don't know what people do in these places, but whatever it was that they did, songs of praise and stuff, I suppose. You can tell I'm not a churchgoer. Anyway, there you are, that's it. So you had 3 sections. This one for the ordinary folk, one bit in there for the old vicar, and one bit for the knobs. And the tunnel that came across from the hall, underground, so they didn't get wet. I believe there's, it's also a crypt where there's lots of bodies laid out in there. There's a bit of a history lesson you could have probably done with a history teacher, not a nurseryman telling you about it. But I'm afraid that's all you got. Yeah, there's that hydrangea again, Aspera villosa. Isn't it lovely? I really must, before the end of next year or this winter, give it a proper prune. And then perhaps before I leave next year, we can have one really big fancy flowering of it. The plant behind is a Perennial. That's not quite turned yet, but you can see the colours. This is a Persian plant. I think it comes from Iran. It's called Ironwood because the wood is very dense. It will turn very soon. Lovely, isn't it?
I've been sorting out the half price zone, and this is another thing I've rescued from it. These won't even sell at 20 quid, but they've been in the same pot for probably 3 or 4 years, which is maybe a kind, and probably more, to be fair. Some did sell actually, there was quite a lot of them at one point. You can see this top one here, they're funny beasts. They have these big... They didn't put on much leaf because they're severely malnourished.
Yeah.
It's sometimes called devil's walking stick. I don't know how to get hold of it.
It's an Aurelia, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see these spikes here. That's why it's called devil's walking stick, because if you got hold of it, you'd be very happy.
Yeah, devil of a thing.
They're far too tall and awful, so we're going to have a bit of an experiment on them.
Well then, Elizabeth, prune it.
I think it might kill them, but they're going to get chucked if they don't.
Right, shit or bust, isn't it?
Yeah, don't knock that bud off. Oh, I thought it'd take more cutting than that.
They're quite hollow inside.
Yeah. Oh, that might not be good then.
No, but it might just go down to that knuckle and then above there. So you might be all right.
And I'll do this one as well, and I'll leave one.
Leave that little one.
Yeah. And that one.
Yeah, and take this one further down.
There's a bud there. Is that a live bud?
Yeah, is it a live one? Yeah.
Is it live?
No
I've
idea.
looked
It's
at it.
doing there, same as you've done the other one.
Well, it's gone a bit. It's gone thin and thick there.
Well, take it there.
So I may as well go there. They're funny because I think them things that look like butts are where these have come off.
Yeah. Now those leaves, you see, that's the single leaf there. It's sort of like a pinnate type leaf.
That is, if you just saw that and
Yeah.
went looking for that plant,
You wouldn't think much of it.
I thought it
However,
was quite nice.
if it was properly grown, that
If you
would
just saw the leaves though,
Yeah,
not,
but-
not the awful plant.
that one would be over 3 foot long. They're grown because they have giant leaves.
Yeah.
And that's the individual leaf. And you can get them, 3.5 foot long. Big. And the variegated form is highly expensive.
The variegate one's very nice.
Yeah.
So I'll pot them because they can't stay in them pots for another 3 years.
No.
And
Get
we'll
them
see
potted
what
up.
happens.
It's another one of your experiments. See you in the spring.
You want to talk about eucalyptus?
Yeah.
We're running out of things to talk about, aren't we?
Go on then.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been filming for the last 3 minutes.
We got some of these, which is Lobelia tupa. It's a very elegant, a bit tropical looking thing. But it's one of these things that's borderline hardiness.
Right.
I've put a few borderline hardness up here because we've got the big old wall, which offers a lot of protection. So it's one of the best, probably most sheltered places in the garden. Near the toilet's not too bad. So I'm just going to shove this in here as a bit of an experiment. It's nice to be able to say to people, well, it's come through last winter here in the ground, because in pots we'll put it, we'll put them in the polytunnel in pots. It says it likes moist, but the other lobelia seem to do well here. So it can't have everything. It can't have sheltered and moist. So it'll have to get one or another. It's supposedly evergreen. I just had to look that up because I wasn't sure. Because the other lobelia aren't. You sometimes get like the base rosette thingies. So, depending on the winter, we might see that again next year.
That'd be nice.
We haven't had a bad winter for 10 years here. So,
By bad you mean snow and frost for extended periods.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
wet and horrible and miserable, but it hasn't been plant killing cold.
No. This is a lovely maple. This is just straight Acer palmatum dissectum viridis. And it's such a lovely thing, and it just hangs over this stream. In Victorian times, they would have had places like this absolutely weed free. We can't do that. We haven't got the advantages of, I was going to say cheap labour, or masses of industrialist money and cheap labour. In those days it was a very different thing. That doesn't mean it was better, it was worse. But that aside, we have to put up with the weeds. It's a bit more natural. The insect life and the wildlife seem to like it. There are times when you think to yourself, oh, I just want it weed free, weed free. But as the older I get and the longer I've been in this business, I think you just have to sort of work with things and just put the dramatic things in like this alongside a sort of a more natural feel. I used to think that wildlife gardening was just an excuse for people not to get off their arse and do a bit of weeding or hoeing. And while that may be true in some respects, it's easy to justify. Not everybody likes gardening. I'm not so much that way of thinking anymore. We're just losing so many species of animal and plant. I just think every bit of help that we can give nature now is really important, because otherwise I don't know where it's going to end. We can't just keep depleting the earth. We seem to have dominated it to a point that's pretty, well, disgusting really. Here are some maples used as ground cover. They're starting to colour up, and the Omuriyama is losing its leaves now, but again that's colouring up. It's a lovely time of year.
I'm just doing a little video on autumn colour, but not like your normal autumn colour, more of things you wouldn't expect to have autumn colour. So kind of two seasonal interest maybe. This is euphorbia, one called Fireglow. We were looking at some of the divisions I'd done of it the other day. It's quite spready based. That one's just coloured up a bit sooner, but you can see the lovely colour when it first comes up in spring as well. It's got these red stems as well. Oh no, I meant to do landscape. When it comes up in spring, the first shoots are really attractive as well, a really reddy colour. These are deciduous azaleas. This one is a variety called Painted Lady. And this one next door is Mollis Berry Rose. They make some beautiful autumn colour. I'll just go down a few. All these pinks. These will drop their leaves. You don't usually get autumn colour without things dropping their leaves. Apart from, oh, look where I'm watching. The only thing that seems to be evergreen that colours up well that I can think of is oh, bloody mind's gone blank. I used to call it japonica. Mahonia. Mahonias seem to get autumn colour without colouring up, without losing the leaves. I'm talking a load of drivel. Anything else interesting? These are the pheasant berries. We were talking about them a while ago. I think someone was potting them. You can see they kind of have these. These are the berries. Oh. These are berries and that's flower. So they'll change to berry, obviously. And you'll have these kind of like dangly earrings. That's just the plain form. Oh, it's called purple rain. But it's the green form. And that's the yellowy form. So it's just same flower really. Same thing. Berries idea. Berberries, sorry. Thunbergii starburst. This is it's a spiky bugger. It would get thicker with time. But the colour on this, if we look closely, it's variegated all year, and then these are turned red with time. So the red's replaced probably green, I think. But it is two-tone normally. You can maybe see like there what it's kind of been. Yeah, that green and pinky. They're tough little beasties. And they also have these little berries. Things like berberis make good bird plants because you get the berries. And often what birds need is some good cover. So they'll form a really dense plant with prickles that a sparrowhawk wouldn't be bothered with.
Well, that's looking very nice.
Yeah. Just getting the conifers looking nice, just ready for sort of the back end of the year. Just thought I'll go through them now, get rid of the majority of the weeds, so that when all this drops I can just go through with the leaf blower. So I don't end up blowing all the weed seed everywhere as well.
Yeah.
But also it's got to the point where I just want them to
So look nice. They do look.
nice and look at the individual.
They look nice on fresh ground, don't they?
I haven't finished tidying that edge yet. But
Have you ever thought about putting a landscaper's mulch on this and then a...
yeah, I thought about that, or sticking like a layer of bark all around them as well.
Yeah.
This looks nice, it shows them off better, but
I think
quite a lot.
if you put the fabric underneath.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
they love
Just to
just
keep
have
the weed
bark and
growth
things,
down.
Yeah. I mean, at least it makes it easier for just having to, like obviously not this time of year, but hoe through it. Because when the ground's a bit wet, I'm not using the hoe, I'm using this.
That wisteria's gone crackers
Beastie.
this year. I think it's killing off the liriodendron. I'm not too bothered about
There's
that.
worse things, isn't there? So I'm just going through with this, just roughing up the ground a bit, just ripping out some of the
Yeah.
roots of the weeds, just instead of because when you hoe it, you end up just taking off that full layer and you can end up dragging the full thing. So just doing this end up really just ripping the entire thing and giving it a nice tilth. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Tilth.
That's one of them wolf tools, isn't it?
Wolf
They're
tools,
good
yeah,
then.
brilliant.
Just and can I point out to everybody, we're not influencers,
Not sponsored.
but it is. They are actually very good, and you get all these different handles and different sizes.
Yeah, and it's all interchangeable heads.
Yeah.
But just going through.
There they are.
getting all these tidy up. Yeah, and you can get them all short handled as well, like these here. Make it handheld.
It's good, isn't it?
Really good.
Really
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, I'm just going through, and one thing as well, I'll give people something that's always good to do with conifers, especially this time of year. Particularly the pines, they're all shedding needles now.
Mm.
So it's always good to go through and give them a bit of a clean out. I don't know why I'm wiping my brow, I'm not sweating, I never work that hard. If we hop up here, I can show you some of these pines. A better example. And this one, you see all these old needles, and what you need to do is go through and just really rough it up a bit and just try and pull as many of the old
There's
needles
little
out as
clusters
possible.
in, aren't
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
And just get a handful. Just it helps prevent against things like just fungal issues building up in them.
How often do they shed? Every 3 years, is it?
No, the pines every year.
Every year.
They keep, some of them, like these pines, they keep, that's this year's growth, that year's growth. But the previous years, yeah. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. The shed, the third year
growth,
old
yeah.
growth. Yeah, sorry, that's what you meant. Yeah, the shed, that 30-year-old growth. Apart from some like the parviflora type, the soft needles, they shed last year's.
Right.
So that's some of last year's needles. Not often fully, but you just need to go through and just clean them all out. Just allows the air through them as well. And it's good you need to do that as well with spruces, and firs aren't as bad for it, but you still have to do it. But that's it. Particularly the pinus. Or if you're from the continent, the penis. So
Penis.
just a little bit of penis maintenance for everyone watching.
Oh dear, that's my...
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah, that
female
was-
throwing.
Female throwing, yeah. And
How's
if you
that?
throw it back at them, they don't. Look at that. Look.
Yeah,
I don't know. You are so tolerant,
this is-
Thomas.
I am. I'm assumed
You
tolerant.
you are a paragon of virtuous tolerance. Oi!
This is a lot of people gonna think this is sexist. Okay,
Right.
see how Clara's throwing there, right?
Yeah.
The male left-handed throw. You need to see this. It is the same technique. Are you filming this, Mel?
Yeah, I am.
I see him with my right hand.
Good days and
Look
bad
at that.
days.
Yeah.
Left-handed.
Good days and bad days.
That's- Is that pushing it a bit?
Oi! 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 Right, you're sacked. Bugger.
Well, it's Poetry Corner, and is this not the nicest corner in the world to sit in and think about poetry? Last week we asked if any of you had any poems you really liked that you might like us to read and set to music and show some pictures, and Helen Williamson sent a suggestion of Robbie Burns' My Love's Like a Red, Red Rose, which is one of the most gorgeous poems ever, and I doubt I'll do it justice, but I'll read it, Helen. Oh, my love's like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile. sure Malcolm's shown you this before, but I just was passing on my way back from Poetry Corner, and I just saw how beautiful all the lily pads are with the autumn sun on them. The lilies are gone, but they've this gorgeous golden discs floating here. There's still coins on the sundial as well. People throw coins on there, and they have a wish if it lands on there. And periodically, Malcolm and Thomas and the others take out the coins at the bottom and give it to a worthy cause. So I'm just pausing to have a look at that. And the other thing I was going to show, which I'm not sure you always see this, but it's just that glorious view over the gardens up onto the Teesdale Hills. And the light this autumn is so beautiful. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello. Have you done your poem?
I've done my poem.
Ah, very nice.
And I think there was a request came in that I think you'll be able to deliver.
Oh, from Terry Matthews.
Terry?
Yeah.
He's right up your street.
It is, because it reminded me of my mother. And he sent in a little verse, and it was, what was it? On yonder hill there stood a coo. It's no there new. It shifted. And it just is something my mother would have said, except she would have probably added, which of you Waynes has pinched that coo? You dirty wee bastards. Is it you, Malky, you wee bar bag? Wash your mouth out with soap.
You do know you're saying these things out loud, don't you?
Am I? It just reminded me of her, that's all.